guys, it's Frankie here and welcome to today's tutorial. So what I'm going to be showing you is how I go about doing a removal of lashes on my clients, and I think this is going to be more so for the novices in the industry, because if you've been in the industry for a while you would have done a few of these and you'll realise that it's not actually that difficult. But I do appreciate that some of you are actually never shown this in your beginners courses, and it is a question that you do see on the forum. So I was doing a removal of somebody else's work prior to doing the set, so I thought it would be a good opportunity to film that and show you how we go about doing a removal of eyelash extensions. Now, you may have seen several techniques for removal of eyelash extensions. One of them is where they wrap them in cling film. So they kind of put cling film underneath the eye, then coat the extensions in debonder and then wrap them and then leave them for 10 to 15 minutes. Personally, that doesn't work for me, and also I like to be working. I actually find it quicker if I'm actually working than if I actually do it that way. So I have tried it several times, it just doesn't work for me, so I always go about doing it this way. But you know, whatever it is that works for you is absolutely fine. Now, a removal should be relatively simple. However, I have in the past had removals that have taken me over 2 hours because the extensions have been applied elsewhere and there was so much adhesive on those extensions, and also they were applied outside the UK and they can be very strong, and if there's too much of it used then you're never going to get it off. I've also seen hair glue used as lash glue and super glue, because our glues are all a form of that. So you may be unlucky enough to actually get a client come in that has had lashes applied with a non-lash glue, and if that is the case you could be there for a long time to get those lashes off. Now, I never used to do removals on other people's work because I didn't want to be held responsible for any damage that might actually have been caused by the set that's already on there, because if the set was really bad and I took the set off and then that customer wanted to complain, they're probably going to blame me for the damage. So I never used to do it. But then I sort of started thinking that years ago I had a horrific set of eyelash extensions. I needed to get them off. I was too embarrassed to go back to the therapist, and therefore I went elsewhere. Now imagine if everybody took the same stance that I did, which is I don't remove other people's work, then you know, somebody like me would have been really stuck. So I now do remove other people's work, but I actually just make sure that it's worth my while. So really you do need to be charging probably an infill price for your removal, because if it's not your work it could potentially take you an hour or 2 hours to get that work off. So you've really got to make sure that you cater for that. Now also I want to talk to you about my amazing organic clay gentle debonder that you're going to be seeing me use in the video. I hate debonders, or I did hate debonders until I found this one. I was so fed up with the liquids and the gels running into clients' eyes and stinging them, and you know yourself if you've had extensions on, if you get that in your eyes, oh my god, it stings so bad. So then I started using creams, and I found that the creams were too thick, so they come in a little pot. They were too thick, so they then weren't very effective, and then I started mixing the two and it was just like trouble trying to get the right consistency. And then I came across this organic clay gentle debonder, which is just the best product I've ever found, which is why I had to introduce it to the shop. It is so creamy, it's just delicious, and oh my god, it's so gentle, doesn't sting your clients if you use it in the right quantities. Obviously if you overuse it and then the client opens their eyes, of course it's going to sting, just like if you get makeup remover in your eye it's going to sting. But if you use it in the right quantities it does not sting. It's very gentle and it just gets the lashes off just so easily. So guys, if you are looking for a gentle debonder and you're fed up with your clients saying that yours is stinging, please try this one, because it is just awesome and I can't rave about it enough, and you'll be seeing me using it in the video. So let's jump into the video. Just to remind you, these lashes that I'm taking off are not my lashes. They were done somewhere else. There's quite a lot of adhesive on there. However, I did take them off and do her another more suitable set for her with some glitter lashes in there for Christmas, and I will be making another video of that. So remember, if you like what you see, make sure you hit the like button so that I know that I'm delivering content that you guys are enjoying. It means that I can keep doing more of it. Also, don't forget to subscribe so that you are up to date with all the new stuff that I'm putting out there. And thank you very much for watching. And if you're looking for training, don't forget that I am a trainer. If you can't get to me in the UK, I do have trainers internationally who teach my content. I also have amazing online courses. So if you are looking to advance your skills, or you are somebody watching this that has never done lashes before and would like to get into lashes, come and check me out at eyelashexcellence.com. We've got lots of stuff available there for you to assist you, and thanks for watching. So first of all, what I always do is apply pads to the client, because we do need to protect the delicate under eye area. They don't have to fit properly, and they don't actually have to secure the lower lashes out of place, because obviously we're not doing a set of eyelash extensions. But you do just need to make sure that they are comfortable on that client and that they are not digging in any way, because you could actually bruise the eyeball still, even though they're only going to be on for about 10 minutes or so. So here you can just see that I'm just readjusting those outer corners just to make sure they're not cutting in. So this is my organic clay debonder. That's one of the old bottles that I've got, and I like to use the backing sheet off the under eye pads to put it on, because it's going to go in the bin anyway. And then you're just going to go through and just saturate the base of the lashes. Now, a question that we do get is that should the debonder come into contact with the skin? Not particularly, but it is going to, because you have to get it that close to the lash line that it is going to contact the skin a little bit. As long as it's not a huge overexposure, you will be absolutely fine, but this is why it is paramount that you do use the right amount. You're better off starting with a minimal amount and then loading it up over time, rather than plonking too much on and it oversaturating the eye, because it could run into the eye, but it's also then going to get all over the skin as well. So like I said, start off with a little bit and then a little bit more on there. Now, I like to use flocked applicators. Some people do use the little micro brushes, but I find that they tend to disintegrate as you're doing this, so you'll get through quite a lot of them. So I like to use those, as I said, and then I just leave it for 3 to 5 minutes and have a little bit of kitchen towel ready to put the lashes that are coming off onto. So I now come in with 2 flocked applicators because I need to rub them together. So I'm actually working the base of the extensions together in those flocked applicators to release the bonds. Now, sometimes you do need to be quite aggressive, but I don't mean that you're going to hurt the client. You just need to rub those bonds. Now, you should see the extensions coming off without a lash attached. If you have got lashes attached, it could be that you are working too hard and you are pulling the natural lashes out. Sadly, it can also be that the set that was applied before was not great, and there were lots of stickies in that set, therefore you have got natural lashes that have been almost pulled out prematurely. But here, like I said, you can see that I'm actually, I'm really getting in there. I'm having a good old rub, and there was quite a lot of glue on these extensions, so I did have to be quite firm, I suppose the word is, to really work the base of the extensions and ensure that they actually come off. And I work from eye to eye, as you can see, because whilst I'm working on one eye, the debonder is saturating the other. So when I feel that I can't get any more off that other eye, I'll move across. I'm also lifting the lid slightly, can you see, with my applicator here. Now, I'm not opening the eye. Do not lift the lid and open the eye, because the debonder could run into the eye. So be very, very careful if you're going to do what I'm doing. The reason I have to do this on my client here is because her lids are quite saggy. She is a lady that is 70. So she's got that loose skin that comes over time. So the lashes are kind of sitting away from me. Her eyes tend to pull her extensions inward. So when I lash her, I actually have to tape the lids to bring the lashes up towards me. So this is why you'll see that I'm actually having to lift the lid slightly on her, which I don't have to do on most other clients. So I just keep working, and although there's a lot of glue used on these, you can actually see how well this debonder does. It really does cut through that adhesive quite quickly, even though there is a lot of glue that's been used on there. So just keep working from eye to eye, and then moving those extensions that are coming off out of the way, back onto the other eye, lifting that lid again just to get access to that inner corner, and rubbing against the pad. And the longer you leave this debonder on, the better it becomes, because it needs time to penetrate into that adhesive. So if you've only left it on for a minute, it really isn't going to work. So this is why I initially leave it for like 3 to 5 minutes. then I start working. If you get to a point where you actually find that no more are coming off, then it's going to be that you'll need a little bit more debonder, so just go and grab some more, just put it on and then wait for another couple of minutes and then start reworking. Now I actually don't do many removals because most of my clients that I have just have infill after infill, so you'll find that you really don't do that many unless you've got clients that are coming from elsewhere, or you've got a client that's just having them as a special occasion and then they've come back for a removal. But again, a lot of them let them come off naturally. They don't really come back for a removal. Now, if it is my own work and they've come back for a removal, I do charge £10 because I need to be, you know, endorsed for my time. If it's a client coming to me from elsewhere who's just having a removal, I charge about £30 because I need to ensure that it's not going to take me sort of an hour to get these lashes off, which it might do, so I do need to earn for that. And if they're having a set taken off from elsewhere and then having a set immediately reapplied by me, I also charge £10. However, if it was to take a lot longer, I would actually have to charge by time. But again, that's something that you can, you know, figure out. It's your business. I did have an incident once, which I spoke about earlier, where I actually had a girl that was coming to me for a removal and a full set, and after 2.5 hours I just about got these lashes off. She'd had them done out in Cyprus. I don't know what glue they'd used on her, and that was back in the day when I was charging like £7 for a removal or something. And the annoying thing is that I charged her £7 for this removal, and I couldn't do her full set that night because we'd been at it for 2.5 hours trying to get these lashes off. And then she never came back. So for 2.5 hours work, I earned £7. So these are things that go on. You just got to make sure that you sort of learn from them and don't ever sort of allow that sort of thing to happen again. That was back before I did patch test and consultation forms. So now, you know, you have to be very, very careful. You have to obviously do a patch test. So in that situation, I would have done a patch test on that client first of all, and then assessed her lashes for a removal prior to her coming in. So here I'm just using a damp cotton round just to take off the lashes that were sort of quite messy around her, because some of them sort of are just laid on her eyelid, which is absolutely fine, and then just using my tweezers to come in and just take those ones off, just to clean the eye up a little bit to give me a clean workspace. Now some of these lashes are really stubborn. They are not coming off with my little flocked applicator, so I've got to come in there with my tweezers and actually do the peeling technique. And you might find this sometimes at the end, there's just a few that just won't come off. If you are taking off a good set, very, very unlikely. But if you are taking off a set where a lot of adhesive has been used, you're probably going to find that you do quite a lot of this tweezing to get the extensions off, because that glue remover just will not take it off. So yeah, I'm just going in there. And these tweezers that I'm using are not my best tweezers. So these are almost like graveyard tweezers, because I keep my best tweezers for lashing, and then I have other tweezers for jobs like this. I always say my best tweezers is a bit like our queen. She just comes out to wave and that's it, and that's all she does. She doesn't do any of the other work that needs doing. And that's how I treat my tweezers. I have my good tweezers for lashing, and then I have tweezers that come out and do jobs like this, and it doesn't matter if they get debonder on them. Now I had a really, really stubborn one on this outer corner. There was so much glue on there that, you know, even tweezing, and there was quite a lot of sticky, so I had to get the tips of my tweezers right down in the base and literally peel them apart. There was about 5 lashes that were all stuck together. So you can see the trouble that I'm having, you know, from this angle you can't see close up, but I really had to go in there and do like gentle peeling. And you have to be really gentle, because if you snag that client's lashes, it's going to be very, very painful for them. Now I just needed a little bit more debonder on there. I'd managed to get the main bulk of it off, so I just plopped a little bit more debonder on there whilst I've gone onto the other eye, just to take the remainder of those ones off there. And you can see I'm quite efficient about this, you know, I don't hang around, I sort of really get on it. Now I always take the pads off before I do my cleanse. Make sure your client does not open their eyes at that stage. I always say to my client, look, I'm going to take your pads off, but keep your eyes closed. And then I just come in with a damp cotton wool round. Now my water is always warm. I have cooled down boiled kettle water because it's the most sterile thing I have at the time there, and it feels nice for that client to have warm water on them, especially in the winter that we're in at the moment. It feels really, really nice. And you might have to get in there and just do a little bit of a scrub. Just make sure that you're not doing it too hard that you hurt the client. So always ask them as you're going on, is that pressure okay? And tell them, don't be frightened to tell me if I am, rubbing a little bit too hard. Now, if you ever find that you get white, sort of like crystallizing or blooming on your lashes, it's where the moisture has activated or reactivated the adhesive. It's called blooming. You'll get like little white bits on there. You just have to make sure that you give them a really, really good wipe. Now, the key is to make sure that your cotton wool rounds are not wet. They're damp, because if they're sort of really, really wet, any glue residue that is on there is going to be reactivated and go white. So yeah, they've just got to be just damp enough to actually get in there. And you can see how I turn my cotton wool round then into a point, so I can get right into the base of those lashes and just making sure that I'm getting all of that residue out. And this is so very important if you're going to go and do a reapplication, which is absolutely fine to do straight after if you've actually removed all of the residue. I then put clean pads on my client and get them to bring their hands up and have a good rub. The client can always get deeper into their eyes with a good pressure than you can, and it feels really, really nice for them when they've had eyelash extensions on to actually have that really, really good rub. We all know how nice that feels. And then I just come in and give them another clean. Now, I actually get through quite a lot of cotton wool rounds. I probably get through 4 sets, so 8 cotton wool rounds during this. I always like to make sure that they're clean and that there is no residue of the debonder on those cotton wool rounds. So yeah, feel free to get through quite a lot of them and just get in there. I just like to really make sure those lashes are nice and clean, especially as I was doing a reapplication here. I wanted to make sure that they were squeaky clean before we went in and did another set on her. And then I asked my client to open their eyes, and hopefully you shouldn't have any stinging. If you do, just make sure that you get them to close their eyes. And if you have got a client that is sensitive to it, you can also get them to open their eyes only whilst they're sitting up. So you can get them to sit up and then open their eyes, because actually if you've got any debonder that's sort of sitting on the lash line, it will run forward. But if you've given your client a really good cleanse, if you've seen there, then hopefully you shouldn't have any problems. Like I said, give that glue debonder a go. It's really gentle, it's really creamy, it gets the lashes off really nicely, and I hope you enjoyed that video. Thank you very much for watching.